Welcome. Good afternoon. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to let everyone, we were starting a few minutes late. Sorry about that. We're going to let everyone join the call and get connected, get our audio all connected. Thank you guys for joining us. We've got a good session for you today, all about the RMA, our self-study curriculum, and certainly a focus on our capstone with practical application. My name is Mike Kurz. I'm the Director of Programs here at the Investments and Wealth Institute. Super excited to have you here. We're here for about 30 minutes or so. We know we got started a few minutes late. We'll record this as well if you just love it and can't wait to watch it over and over again. But we know that we've got a mix of folks. We have some folks that have already started the Retirement Management Advisor program, or kind of in the middle, or considering the next steps for their in-person capstone or virtual choices, as well as folks that are thinking about getting started with the program. So let's jump in and take a look, and we'll tell you all about the RMA program and the capstone, and with a special highlight for some cool stuff, which is really exciting. If you're just getting to know the Investments and Wealth Institute, we're a professional association, an advanced education provider, and 100% a certification board with our 3 certifications that we love very much: the CIMA, CPWA, and today our focus on RMA, the Retirement Management Advisor. We'll have a few folks that are available certainly to support you as you go through this learning journey. Again, myself here at the Institute, and then Stephanie Kahn for our certifications program, and Bob Powell, who helps contribute and is a longtime leader for the RMA program. So we've got that there. So if you think of the RMA, if you're just getting to know it, certainly these are the big 5 takeaways. Looking from the RMA from start to finish, that multidisciplinary approach, building retirement income plans, helping through that retirement mindset that we shift, going from accumulation to decumulation, right? Working with aging client base, working with folks even at the beginning of retirement and through that elderly phase of retirement, that we know that there's a shift in not only how we view portfolios and income and dividends, how we view our goals and objectives in retirement, how important that is as advisors to be able to shift and learn different skill sets to help folks navigate that to have better outcomes. Number 3, unbiased solutions, right? This is a very agnostic program. It's not about products, specifics, or choosing one specific type of product, but building a plan and a portfolio and a strategy and a structure that drives throughout all the phases of retirement, using practical tools and techniques. And certainly as part of that, we know that the fiduciary responsibility, professional standards is one that we take very seriously. We know our members do as well. If you look through that list, the RMA is designed to be very practical, very applicable for that advisor, for those serving advisors on the team. We have a ton of folks interested in looking through the RMA. They're part of asset management firms that are there helping and supporting advisors, building that, helping them adopt that structure and framework, going all the way through that we have so many folks that are familiar with the investment policy statement. How many of you have a retirement policy statement that you deliver to clients, right? That you take that and summarize all the important and critical details of this transition to retirement, and document that in an RPS, which we think is very important. All right, we're getting through the material very quickly. We want to make sure we do a good job for you. If you think of these steps, if you haven't started the RMA, step 1, once you get started, is that step 1, that RMA online course. We have a textbook, we have online PDFs, we have quizzes, lectures, all to help make sure your learning journey is fantastic and you get through and have a good time. And then step 2, you have a couple of choices. 1, you can do this completely on demand, virtually sitting in front of your computer, or certainly you can join us in Nashville, which Stephanie, myself, and Bob, we're all going to be there in Nashville May 16th and 17th. We've got 2 full days, and that's what we're going to dig in today. We're going to show you what's included in those 2 full days. And then step 3, you can complete your RMA certification exam right there, live in person. We know today, looking at today, April 7th, there is time if you're super interested and you have the motivation to start your RMA program. You can start today, go through step 1, join us for step 2 in Nashville, and complete step 3 in the next 60 days or so. If you're in the middle of your RMA journey, you can also do that as well and join us and commit to that, joining us at the Nashville event that just happens to be right next to our ACE Academy, our annual conference for the institutes. Our biggest one will have 1,000+ people in attendance with all kinds of vendors and awesome, cool stuff. So we're taking over Nashville. It's going to be a lot of fun. As part of the RMA, we talked about the curriculum. We've got a full textbook that's available, as well as all the things online. We go through that whole process, that wheel, with certainly with the client there in the middle, and getting them through that very academic, very long-standing approach on how do we build out this balance sheet, household cash flows, through allocating retirement risk, all the way through presenting and monitoring the plan for clients, which we know is something very important. If you think of the exam, what's on the exam? It's a 100-question exam. You see on the left-hand side how it's split up through that wheel, that client wheel, and those allocations. But certainly here today, our time, we want to focus on sharing with you this one event that's going to be in Nashville Music Center, City Center, May 16th and 17th. You got 2 hotels to choose from. I know, Bob, you're excited about being there, right? Look at that. We have folks already signed up. We have some folks staying at the Omni, some folks staying at the Westin, but we've got a great venue. We've got that 16 hours of full expert instruction to get ready for. All this certainly is online if you want to check out the investmentsinwealth.org website, the schedule, the hotel, all the different parts and pieces of the agenda, all that's available. We see our faculty that's included there. There's Bob's picture right there in the middle. He's going to be there with us, along with a lot of folks that are experts and practitioners in the field. But Bob, welcome.
Hey, sorry I was late, but I'm glad to be here now.
Yeah, love that you joined us. I know for you and I, the last few months, we've been working on this RMA Education Capstone agenda and getting folks through this program. And we started with 16 hours on site, but you told us, Bob said, 16 ain't enough. We've got 3 more that we have to join or add to this. So we have 3 additional on-demand sessions. Talk with us about these 3 folks, Devin, Chris, and Bob, and what we're going to have them speak to us on this on-demand session, even before we get to Nashville.
Yeah, so the on-demand sessions are great. One of the things that we learned as we built out the RMA is that many folks who were going through the program said, all this is great. How do I talk to my clients about what I've just learned and how we're going to implement a retirement income program? And how do we allay their fears about outliving their assets or healthcare shocks, or whether they have enough money, or whether they have to experience market volatility or inflation or inverted yield curves. So Devin Eckberg, who has been a longstanding part of the RMA, will be leading a session on demand about how to have an effective retirement-focused client communication. And I think this is sort of, one of those things where we take the knowledge and make it practical for the folks who are watching this on-demand session. And Devin is among the best presenters I've ever seen. So I think that's a really, really great opportunity to learn how to actually take what you've learned and put it into practice. The next 2 sessions I'm especially excited about, in part because I had a role in selecting the speakers and the topics. And what we know is that many advisors, in the case of Bob Morterstock, who was an advisor and now he's a consultant, many advisors are now dealing with aging clients, or maybe they're dealing with clients who have aging parents or aging relatives. And so this is a relatively new experience for many advisors. They haven't had to get involved in maybe durable powers of attorney or trusted contacts, or how do I evaluate a continuing care retirement community. So Bob will talk a lot about how do you work with an aging client base or clients who have aging parents. And then the next thing, Chris Hay has written extensively about this. He's the founder of a company called WealthCare. And what he does is, in essence, say, how do you build your practice to, one, protect your firm and yourself against the possibility of working with aging clients, because there's lots that can go wrong when you're working with an aging client. And also, how do you protect your clients who might be aging and on the verge of cognitive impairment or cognitive decline or dementia or Alzheimer's? And I can tell you this, it may not be happening daily in your practice, but there's a coming, as Chris likes to say, there's a coming surge of diminished capacity cases in your client book that you need to be prepared for. And you certainly want to do it well in advance of it happening. So those 3 on-demand sessions are great, each in their own way.
I love it. I love it. And thinking of getting there that Monday and Tuesday, that 16th and 17th, don't forget, you can come in early. Bob, are you a country music fan? Probably not as big as I am.
I have to admit to being an old country music fan. I like Johnny Cash in that era.
I love it. The classics.
Yes.
The classics. Well, I'll have to admit to the group that I love any kind of country. The new stuff, the old stuff, the bad country, the good country, they call it bro country. Bob, have you heard of this? Bro country?
Yeah, my children refer to it as bro.
I love it all. It's all fantastic. So I'll have my plane out there with my country getting ready for that. But we kick off now the capstone live in person that Monday morning. We're going to kick it off with Steve, really kind of setting the tone of how do you make sure to do a good job as an advisor, right? How do you actually deliver good advice? Talk with us more about what Steve and Sarah have in store.
Yeah, so for those who might be familiar, Vanguard, as have others, have tried to quantify the value of advice, and Vanguard has published a series of papers around this topic. And the latest of these white papers will be published right around the same time that the RMA Capstone is taking place. Steve Weber is the author of this article, and he'll be specifically looking at how do you quantify the value of advice with respect to a retirement clients who are retired or on the verge of retirement. And previously their research had looked at investors who were in the accumulation phase, and this will be specific to those folks who are on the cusp of or in retirement. So that will be a great session. It will be brand new research that's being introduced. Sarah Newcomb is a behavioral economist at Morningstar, and she'll be talking a lot about this intersection of behavioral finance and retirement. We know that many of you have been exposed to behavioral finance, especially on the accumulation side. Maybe people suffer from whatever confirmation bias or optimism or whatever it might be. But there are certain behavioral finance topics that are unique to retirement. And she'll be talking about that. And if you've never had a chance to listen to Sarah speak, she's fantastic. And so I'm really pleased that we're kicking off the session with some all-stars from all-star companies.
Love it. I love it. And then don't forget, we've got these 2 hotels. It's going to be May in Nashville. The weather's going to be fantastic, right? Can you just imagine sitting outside? I know, Bob, you know that I love cheap bourbon. I'm just going to be sitting outside Sunday evening with my cheap bourbon, enjoying this beautiful area, all thinking about, okay, Monday morning after, we get started, we've got CJ talking about fundedness. And this is where really, in that RPS, your session RPS, this is where we really start to dig deeper into the curriculum for the RMA. Talk with us about that calculating that retirement fundedness, that household balance sheet, how important that is.
Yeah, so this
with your session on the RPS.
Yeah, so like this is like the foundation of the RMA, right? This is sort of where we talk about the notion of the history of life cycle saving and finance, all the academic research that was built by Modigliani and Merton and Zvi Bodie and Moshe Milevsky. In essence, what we're doing here is CJ will be walking you through how is it that you build the household balance sheet? How do you create the net present value of income, your sources of income, whether it's from financial capital, social capital, whether it's from earnings in retirement, and then how do you create a net present value of all the liabilities that you might face in retirement, such as housing and healthcare and transportation and travel and all the things that you'll be spending money on in retirement. And then how do you actually sort of put all that together? How do you determine whether someone is, I like to say, ready for retirement based on their household balance sheet and based on their fundedness? Do they have an asset over liability equation that allows them to say, yeah, I'm overfunded, or is it 90% A over L, in which case they may be underfunded and may have to work a little bit longer, or save a little bit more or invest a little bit more aggressively, or sometimes we joke, die sooner. That's that's not an option, really. That's not in the book. That's just a dad joke. Sorry. But anyway, CJ is going to walk you through what you've read in chapters 2 and 3 that might just seem like, well, okay, I get it. I understand the concept of this. Show me how to do it. And CJ is going to offer us a very practical, hands-on look at how you build a household balance sheet. And then you want me to talk about what I'll be talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So one of the things that everyone here knows who has ever built an investment plan for someone, you've probably have created an investment policy statement along the way, which is a blueprint for how you'll be managing their investments, what kind of capital market expectations you might have, what kind of asset allocation you might have, when will you rebalance the portfolio. Well, what we've done in the RMA program is to create the near equivalent of an IPS. We call it the retirement policy statement. And in essence, it does the same thing, but for retirement. It will say, okay, what will be my allocations between the floor, the upside, the longevity, and the reserve sleeves? When will I rebalance those sleeves? How will I monitor the retirement plan that I've just created? What is the fundedness level of the client? We took that, which we've established because of the household balance sheet. What are the risks that we will face in retirement, and how do we plan to manage and mitigate those risks? All those things will be captured in the RPS, and we'll take a walkthrough about how to create the RPS for your clients.
I love it. I know with our board of directors here at the Institute, I was at a meeting over the holidays, and one of the things that she said is, when I'm working with my wealthy clients, the one thing that I love about the certifications that I've gone through at the Institute is I can do the math, right? And I can actually do the work, and I'm not just looking at a report that a software program spit out. I can do the math. So I love that we're talking about this with CJ, and then being also able to create a way to deliver that to a client that's client friendly, that helps them stick to a solution, stick to a strategy, ultimately, so they have better outcomes. So I know we had planned for 30 minutes for this session. We're about 23 minutes in it, so we'll get through scooting along. We got to show you our fun pictures of the Country Music Hall of Fame. I hope I get to spend some time here because, like I said, Bob, you talked about the oldies.
Yeah. So if you've never
so
been
much history here.
Have you ever been here, Mike? By the way,
I haven't.
All right, so this is great, right? There's, I don't know, 3 or 4 floors, and each floor is like a different era in country music. So yeah. I think it starts out with the early music, and then the higher you go in the building, I think it's the contemporary music. Anyway, give yourself enough time to get through all the floors. I went there at maybe 30 minutes before closing, and I had to run. I had to run through the hall. So give yourself enough time. It's fantastic.
We got to definitely check this out. I think that's going to be fun. That's quite a destination. Definitely. Well, I know we don't have a whole lot of time to dig into a lot of the rest ones, but I want to highlight as we go through. As Kelly then, talks about healthcare and retirement, then Devin, who's we talked about our on-demand session, digs into those retirement risks that are unique to retirement. And then that first day ending on with you, Bob, coming back and this whole curriculum, doing a review session, making sure we have those technical strategies and discussions for that day 1 wrap up, and put all those things together. I thought this was funny. It seems like no one's traveling these days, so I had to put a map of where Nashville is in case people have forgotten just where on the East Coast Nashville is. We're only 30 minutes from the airport, so it's easy to fly into the beautiful airport, get right there, and then I think that's day 1, and then starting day 2, Roger Whitney talking about retirement management allocations. Marcia Mantell has been a long-time instructor for the RMA program, digging into Social Security and Medicare. She does a fantastic job. Talk with us a little bit about Dana's presentation there, that asset liability matching, in the discussion that she's going to have with us.
Right. So in this discussion, I think of this as, how do you put it all together? So you've built the household balance sheet, and now you have to create a retirement income plan where the assets that you have on this side of the balance sheet have to match up with the liabilities that someone will have in retirement. And so Dana walks through the process where it's built on the RMA and it's applied in her practice. And this will give you sort of a look at how an advisor implements the RMA within the confines of their practice. And Dana is a registered investment advisor, so there's a little bit more leeway. She can create her own spreadsheets to do this, but you'll get a unique look at how one advisor implements the RMA.
I love it. I love it. And then as we think about getting through the look at this. I don't
What
know
is that?
if is
Wait a
this
minute,
going to be your room?
What is
Is
that?
this
A
your room,
bathtub?
Bob? Yeah, just
No,
right there.
that's.
I think
I
this
didn't
is what
order the
we've got
gold,
reserved. We got this one reserved for you, Bob, with the fireplace and the bathtub just right there looking over the city. That's going to be quite a Sunday evening.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
awesome.
think I have that view.
Somebody will. Somebody will, definitely. And then the end of day 2, which I think this is one of the sessions I think that I may just be the most excited about, with Bob, with you and Mike Kurz walking through the session of doing a true workshop, right? Delivering the exercise. So then taking and saying, here's a true case study from start to finish, and then taking about an hour and a half or so to that first session, and that you see that the next session, that small group client RPS presentation, and then saying, okay, now you have to actually deliver this income plan to a client. Let's take your small group, stand in front of a group and present your plan. And let's talk, make sure you're ready for the road, right? You're ready to get out on the open road and deliver this. Talk with us more about what you think that's going to be like.
Yeah, so this is a chance to apply the knowledge from both the class that you've taken, reading the book, and also the capstone, where what we've created is a fact pattern, and we'll take the students in the capstone through this fact pattern. It'll be John and Jane Doe, and they'll have this much in assets and these many health issues and this many goals and needs, and we'll go through the process of actually creating a retirement income plan based on the RMA curriculum. And then you'll go get a chance in small groups to work on this fact pattern and come back and talk to your fellow students about the plan that you've just created for our fictitious family. So we're excited about this.
Love it. I love it. And as everything we do with our RMA certification, we always have 2 big goals, right? So number 1 is to make sure we deliver an excellent executive education experience, that self-study, right? The lectures, all the things driving to that's very practical and applicable for an advisor and those that support advisors in that practice of serving clients. That's number 1. And then number 2, certainly we want you to be successful on the exam, and be able to finalize your certification program. So that last session, delivering the curriculum review, make sure that you're 100% ready for your exam on day 3 that you can get through. So you can take a look at this if you want to take a screenshot or take a pic with your phone. Show up on May 15th. That's a Sunday. Spend all day Monday and Tuesday with Bob and I and our instructors. And then on Wednesday, you'll be there ready for the exam in person, on location, and you can get your results in just a couple of weeks and be able to give yourself a new business card and a new certification in 2022. So we're super excited. We do have an online learning center. Just wanted to show you this real quick, where you can, once you sign up for the RMA program, if you're new to it, you go straight to their website. All this is online, self-study, self-paced. You have that own rhythm of study. And then certainly today we've had some where Bob and I and their group have done kickoff calls and office sessions. If you wanted to start the RMA program today, but you didn't want to miss that experience of those orientation calls and kickoff calls, we can make sure that you to get you those recordings so that you're not missing a single thing. And then the only thing left to do is decide if you want to join us. If your schedule is clear, get that hotel reservation, send an email to Stephanie. She can make sure to get you signed up for the registration, connect you with our events team to make sure you get a hotel reservation. And then it's this. Then you get to celebrate, Bob. Then it's just a little cheap bourbon and some fun, and get to celebrate finishing the program.
Look at that, all those caps and gowns.
Yeah, that's quite a graduation. Well, certainly, Bob and I and Stephanie we're thrilled that you joined us today. Thanks for your time. We love being able to share the message of the RMA program. We feel like that the opportunity set for serving clients and the burden is huge. We want to make sure that our advisors are ready for that. If you're still thinking about the RMA and you want to talk with someone and say, hey, how does this fit? How would I get started? If I can't do Nashville in May, when can I do this? Reach out to Gray and Carrie. They're on the call today, so they know everything that we talked about. They're great stewards of our programs. They can tell you all about the the programs and make sure to do a good job for you. But we're so thrilled that you joined us, Bob. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you. Thank you all for joining.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, everyone, and we'll talk with you again real soon.